People who have actually had sex with a step relative. What was the aftermath? Hooked up with dad's girlfriend's daughter before they married. Her mom found out. All she said was, well, I'm glad you two got it out of your system before you're related. Anyways, it was boring and pointless. The whole naughtiness of it was the best part. My best friend had sex with his stepsister. She fell in love since it was her first time and he didn't. She then asked him to formally date her, to which he refused and ghosted her. Moved out of the city. She entered a deep depression and they haven't spoken in years. Our parents got remarried later in life when we were already grown adults. We're both only children, so having siblings was a new experience for us. But we wanted it to work, if only for the family's sake. In an effort to grow closer, we decided to go drinking one night. A few months after we met for the first time, she ended up crashing at my place. I offered to take the couch and give her the bed, but she insisted we sleep together in that weird feet to head setup. My drunk ass promptly went to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night to find us spooning, and me with a serious erection poking her ass. I froze. I didn't know how I got there, what was going on, or how I was going to get out of this gracefully. I had just decided to extricate myself slowly in the hopes that I didn't wake her. When it happened, wiggle wiggle, she started wiggling her ass against me. On instinct, I started bucking. Tap tap, wiggle wiggle tap tap. There was only one way to go from there. We went out that night intending to become closer. Mission accomplished. We fucked a few times a week for 5-6 months before we both met other people. In that time we became very close, telling each other our fears, secrets, and generally being what you think of as brother and sister. Except for that other thing. Friends have remarked about how close we are, especially for how short a time it's been. Turns out, there's a shortcut for that. You'd think that would be the end of the story, but instead of going our separate ways with the new people in our lives, we ended up realizing we had fallen hard for each other. Now we're dating and trying to figure out how to tell our parents, family, and friends. Might not have that problem for too much longer though. The last time her dad came into the living room where we were hanging out, well, first he knocked. Had a co-worker who was sleeping with his stepsister. Both of them were already in college when their parents met and got married. Pretty sure it lasted a while, with them all living in the same house. Eventually got caught by one of the parents, which ultimately led to the parents separating. Alright, here we go. So, I meet girl, meet her mom and dad. The girl and I have sex and date for several months. She gets pregnant. I join the Navy to support my new family. I leave for boot camp and she starts sleeping around. So we break up. During this time her mom goes crazy. Her dad leaves her mom. He then starts seeing my mom. They get married. Boom. My ex is now my stepsister and my son is now my nephew. Welcome to West Virginia, Yale. Is that what they call a mountain mama over there? My sister gave our stepbrother a blowjob on one end of our wraparound couch, with our grandmother asleep on the other end. Spoiler alert. She woke up. We had some fucked up family dynamics. Edit. I've answered these in the comments, but for anyone who doesn't feel like scrolling. What happened when she woke up? My grandmom woke up mid-job, smacked my sister on the back of the head with her slipper. They sprung apart and ran away without saying a word. And the next morning everyone just acted like nothing ever happened. As far as I know, my grandmother never said a word about it to anyone. Where was I? I was in bed, sneakily reading Airgone and none the wiser, until my sister told me the next morning. I think these two instances perfectly encapsulate who we both were as a person. LOL, and still are, to be honest. A girl I went to middle school with was impregnated by her stepbrother. She must have 12 or 13. I think he was 17-19. Childhood me thought she was trashy, but adult me knows she was groomed and taken advantage of. I think her parents more or less raised the kid as their own and her role was more of a sister. Eek. So sad. Well, we had sex 2 times. She got pregnant. We tried to work it out. It didn't go well. She left to a different state and then threatened to come get our daughter. I got a lawyer and filed for custody. She never responded and I won by default. I haven't heard from her since my daughter was 8 months old. That was over 4 years ago now. Does no one remember to use protection when they are banging a sibling? Jeez. Trojan pulled a Trojan on me. Want to be featured in my videos? Become a patron at the Patreon link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe for new videos every day. After we finished, my stepsister really did help me with my math homework. Double win. A girl I worked with had, in my opinion, a really weird situation. Her dad was dating a woman and she was dating the woman's son. All living under the same roof too. I believe they broke up and it got pretty toxic as they kept trying to make their step-sibling jealous by bringing home randoms to sleep with. Imagine explaining that one to the people you're bringing around. One of my uncles married a woman when they were in their 50s and their 20-something kids ended up falling in love and marrying. So my cousin married her stepbrother. My uncle ended up divorcing and has a third wife, but my cousin is still happily married with 3 kids 20+ years later. To quote Jiguk, if they're not blood related, they are free to be dated.
As long as you say no chromo.
My mother passed away, so my brother and I moved in with my father, stepmother and stepsister. My parents had a brutal divorce, so we were not very close to them. In fact, we didn't see my father for years. Fast forward, my brother, stepsister, stepbrother and I would play lights out as teenagers. Basically, turn the lights out and start beating the shit out of each other with pillows or anything we could find. I know it sounds like a sick game. Later, when we all played and wondered why I was not getting my hair pulled or punched, I turned on the lights and found my brother and stepsister making out. We stopped playing lights out, but my brother and sister were secretly seeing each until my stepmother found out. Not my story, but my partner's ex-friend fucked his aunt. They aren't related, biologically related, but the aunt knew the guy since he was a baby. Plus, the uncle and him were close and he worked for / with his uncle. Basically, the aunt was going through a breakup with his uncle. The ex-friend and aunt got drunk, fucked and kept as a thing. They only stopped when the uncle got his act together and wanted her back. Aunt told him everything, but pretty sure not the consistency of how many times. When the uncle found out, he called work saying he was going to kill his nephew if not beat the living shit out of him. The co-workers told the ex-friend and he skipped town. Obviously they no longer have a relationship with the aunt or uncle. Some people used to go to church with got married. An attractive young couple. He was 24, she was 22. Their parents were all divorced. The bride's dad hit it off with the groom's mom. Fast forward a year and the mom and dad are getting married, making the newlyweds stepbrother and sister. Now the parents have a new kid, making it simultaneously their half-brother and their nephew or some shit like that. It's fucked up. They're all really nice people, and mostly normal. It's just a weird fucking situation. Throwaway because this story is not going on my main account. My dad remarried when I was in my teens and my stepmother's daughter moved in shortly thereafter. She was the same age I was. We weren't super friendly, but as a horny teenager she was the object of many fantasies. We did not do much, but I did give her back rubs a couple times and she let me feel her up. She never let it go farther, until I came home to visit after moving out. We were hanging out one night, at home. My dad and her were asleep, and she basically decided she wanted to get laid. So we fucked. It was far from her first time, but it was mine. We hooked up again a few months later when she came to visit me, but then she ran off with a guy that ended being her first baby daddy. Aftermath? Nothing happened again after that. When I met my first serious girlfriend, who knew how I had lost my virginity, my stepsister started acting jealous. That was awkward, but it was easier to deal with once my stepsister and her mom had a falling out and stopped talking. To the best of my knowledge, my dad and her stepmother never found out what their kids had gotten up to. By the way, the rumors that my stepsister was in porn videos are completely false. I mean, I've seen the videos, but those rumors are still false. We were on a family holiday in Spain and the apartment was quite small, so a few of us slept in the living room. I was almost asleep when I heard my older brother get a hand job from my stepsister. I had forgotten about the sounds until now, so thanks bro. I don't think they had sex, maybe without me knowing, but I don't think there was any aftermath besides extreme awkwardness on my part for the rest of the holiday and a significant time afterwards. Now I think about it, they were both ill for a few evenings that holiday, so now I realize that was bullshit and it was Bang City. Thank you for watching. Smash that like button like it's a
thick booty.
And don't forget to subscribe to OKPJ Dark if you like nice things, like new videos every day. See you tomorrow.